Let's go into PvZ. It's Era versus Sortof. Now, I'll explain Era. You explain Sortof. I'll go first. Era, the question is, okay, you're going to take this dice, okay? Take a dice, and on all 6 sides, no, 3 out of the 6 sides, it's going to be the number 4. Okay? On the other 3 sides, it's going to be 5. And you roll that dice. That's the amount of gateways he's going to go.
And on one side of the die also says a cannon rush if you really like to do that. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what Era's been known to do. But one thing you can't dispute, Andre, in all of this is that Era's in the round of 32 and just has to win 4 more rounds in order to potentially get his spot. Or actually, no, 5 more rounds in order to get another spot. Now, we can see that he's also up against Sortof. Andre's trying to swat more flies.
I killed it.
We're trying to see if Sortof's going to be able to make a good run. Sortof's been doing really well in almost everything that he's been doing recently, even dating back to IEM Gamescom. And Sortof is just been playing well, and he's actually the Swedish player that a lot of people don't really talk about too much before, his tournament performances recently. But now he's doing really well. I think Sortof's doing really well, and he also did pretty well at WCS Sweden. And I think a lot of people need to start giving him more credit. He is on Team Western Wolves, and I think he's one of the most promising European Zergs now that other people are really starting to establish Nurture as on top.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how Sortof is going to play out in the future. But for now, we're going to see this PvZ with me being completely wrong. It's going to be a 16 Nexus. 16 Nexus, one of the greedier XI, but that's absolutely okay. It's going to be Forge Fast Expansion. Coolio.
Yep. So at this point, Era's really surprising Andre a lot by going for a Forge Fast Expand of some sort. Now, you can see that on Metropolis, a lot of people have been going for 2-base builds. A lot of people kind of commonly criticize it as it's a very strong place for Warp Prism play as well as Immortal all-ins, or even kind of put your hands together and you get Warp Prism Immortal play. But you know what? I'm going to give Era a chance. I'm going to say he can play this macro game, and I say that he can completely destroy Sortof if he gets his 2-base timings up. But you know what? Sortof's actually been playing really well. He's just... I don't know. I want to say that Sortof is the favorite here, but I want to believe in Era. I just want to. I don't know why.
I don't either.
I think Sortof is one of the
Okay, I'm sorry.
stars.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a hater. I just saw the games last time of Era, and they were very uninspiring. And I will give Era a chance. I apologize, Era. If you're out there listening, I apologize to you. I'll give you a chance. But I don't like to see in qualifiers when people just go 4 or 5 gates every single game. I don't. I mean,
yeah, well, that's a different matchup too. It's PVT. It's I guess that was just the way he wanted to play, but
it's still. I mean, it's a qualifiers. It's for a lot. We're trying to determine the best skill players, and I guess if you can win with 4 or 5 gates and qualify for a huge tournament, then maybe you do deserve to be in there because other players can't stop that.
Well, in the words of Rotterdam, 4 gates been so figured out by now that if you can still win with it, that he thinks it takes a lot of skill.
Okay.
That's what Rotterdam told me, word for word. But that was in the matchup of PvP. So I wasn't sure if he means to apply it to everything. Maybe Era heard that and applied it to every single matchup. Man, if I can win with 4 gates, I'm a really skilled player. But at the same time, Era's not doing anything of that sort. In fact, he's playing very standard. If you actually took away the names, it looks like a very regular build from 2 players that you can't recognize. He is going for a fast robo, and we're talking about how good Immortals were in this map, especially on these positions, actually. I want to even emphasize that.
I wouldn't even say, well, yes, of course Immortals, but War Prisms, that's where the danger comes in. I mean, War Prisms are just so very powerful with so much position that you have to defend. It's not only a line format expansion, but it's a line away from your opponent's base. So you do have to, away from your opponent's base, which normally should help out, but because of the power warp-ins, Protoss are able to be all over the map. Top of that, this ramp is facing the Protoss as well, so it's very easy to actually get your Warp Prism over here, force shield the ramp, and just take out everything in the main base. It's kind of why Protoss is so powerful, and I know Kaldor is a big proponent of any sort of Immortal / Warp Prism play on this map.
Looks like the first unit will be indeed an Immortal. No kind of Observer or War Prism, but he's going to go directly for a Robotics Bay as well.
See if that's Gravitic Drive or if that's going to be Thermal Lance.
Maybe the Observer Speed as well. Get
Ooh.
Speed Observers out so you can make sure to really keep tabs on all of Zerg.
That'd be sicko.
I think that'd be really cool one day.
Sortof is doing everything right, though. I mean, wow, he's droned up like crazy.
Yeah, he's done everything right, in fact. Getting his economy up. He's even getting a macro hatch, which I really am a big fan of, getting it before you finish up your layer. Just being able to get out a huge amount of units. You see Stefano actually does that a lot nowadays, getting up a very early macro hatch. And I like that. Sortof is already planning to smack this down. And of course, he knows everything. He has Overlords ready in position to spot anything. That's kind of a really good positions of Metropolis. You're able to scout very early as a trade-off of losing a lot of position expansion-wise.
You know, when I'm Zerg, there was a while where I was dying with, 2,000, 3,000 minerals in the mid-game stage. And I vowed that I would never be like that again because it really gave me no way of getting better. It didn't tell me I was getting the right units, I was getting the wrong units, whatever it was. I just couldn't tell because I wasn't making anything with that. And if you lose with 0 money, that's the way you want to actually lose, because then you're saying to yourself, well, let me reposition this, let me reposition that. Instead of a Zergling, let me get a Roach. And then that way you can actually play very, very accurately. That's why the hatchery, the macro hatchery, I'm just going off of what you said before, macro hatchery is so important in every single one of these matchups. I can't speak for that enough. That's what actually gives you indicators or lets you expand on your 3-base aggression.
I mean, it's going to, it also culminates to the point where Sortof really knows that he needs a huge army ahead of time. That's why a lot of players, they usually throw out macro hatcheries responsively, like, oh, okay, well, I'm racking up a lot, I need to play some macro hatchery now, but sort of already in preparation for a huge wave of production. Look at that, he's starting to go for 10 roaches now, and he's already capping up at the 150 supply, and it's only the 10-minute mark. This is going to be a huge timing if Sortof really commits to this. At the same time, though, there are a lot of sentries and a couple Colossus coming out. And Aram, I guess he feels really comfortable at this point.
Oh my god, how sick would it be if Sortof burrowed all of his units? Burrowed all of them right in the middle of the map.
Andre, how sick would it be if the sentries are all chasing this one Overseer to the right of his natural expansion?
Where?
And then he was able to run in.
Oh, I know.
No, he was trying to go for that one Overseer. Imagine Sortof just ran in with everything.
Oh my
and was able to take out the sentries. But, I mean, he did manage to see everything. He saw the Colossus, he knows everything. Oh, and Arrow's moving out! Oh, Sortof setting up an entire flank this entire time. And he knows Arrow's going to go for a 2-base timing. And now he sees everything, and Arrow doesn't know. Arrow doesn't know! Andre, he's going to go for a huge flank, and the Colossus out of position. He's going to get completely surrounded, Sortof, with a complete just decimation of all the units of Protoss. This is disgusting. Sentries are throwing up panic force fields, but I mean, what's it worth? He only has Colossus at this point. And even then, I mean, Sortof's got everything figured out.
You're dead. Era, I'm so sorry. That's so unfortunate for him. I mean, that surround is brutal. Brutal. And from here, where does Era go? I mean, he has to remake all of his army. That timing with his 3 Colossus, when they're most powerful, your opponents don't really have the capabilities of defending against that. Oh man. But defending against those 3 Colossus efficiently is gone. The Spire Tech is already up. And look at this. He's going Mutalisk. Mutalisk. That's so crazy.
Oh, I think that's smart because, it's going to continue to lock down the Colossus. If they ever feel like they can move out of the base, Mutalisk just kind of summon them back. And then in the end, since he's on 2 base, managing base trade is a lot easier, especially since Sortof's continue to expand. I like this decision from Sortof.
Okay.
I do. I mean, you can traditionally go Corruptor, crush the army. But I think in this case,
you make a good point. You do make a good point. And I mean, Sortof has so much utility right now.
Yeah, he's not even going to base trade. He's just going to go directly for the Colossus count. Picking out the sentries immediately with all of his units and just flooding with so much. I mean, he's taking out the support units. That way the Colossus can't even really run. The Warp Prism coming in a little bit too late to the battle to warp in. But, I mean, honestly, he can't even get the Stalker warp in. Colossus is forced to fight there. And Era tried to play this macro game. And he says 12 FPS on this map. GG.
Unfortunate, but that being said, Era will fall in our first game, sort of just trouncing his opponent, really. And it's unfortunate. He did say 12 FPS at the end there, but we'll see if he's able to do anything in game number 2.